after um, after the meeting. So here we go, everybody. Oh, we got a new person coming in. Okay, so I kind of did my welcome to everybody, but does anybody have any announcements they'd like to make, or anything, any information they'd like to share at the beginning of the meeting? We usually allow a few minutes for this.
I do, Lenny. I
Yep.
emailed you about the state stuff. So I've been working with CCC, PE, KD, and just kind of talking to kinesiology disciplines across the state. And there's two big things that could impact our discipline. I'll talk about first sort of the overarching one, and then one like directly related to kinesiology. So as you probably already know, they're trying to combine the two general ed patterns. So right now we have CSU and IGETC, which is like the UC transferable, and they're trying to make one common pathway. And so UC and CSU are kind of like trying to figure that out. So for example, public speaking class is required for CSU, but it's not required for UC, and UC is not budging. And they're like, we're not going to add that. So now CSU is probably going to have to get rid of that, and so they merge. And an area of concern for us would be area E, lifelong learning, and CSU, where some of our classes qualify, some of our kinesiology classes qualify. If that was eliminated from the general ed pattern, that would hurt our enrollment in those classes. So that's sort of coming down the pike. And then the second piece, which affects our discipline, is they're working on a common ADT in kinesiology. And right now, some CSUs will require two 1 unit activity classes, as you may know. So it could be weight training or badminton or whatever it might be, for a kinesiology major. And they're considering eliminating that. And so what the state wants is they want everything to be common. So whatever happens at CSU happens at, CCCs. So if they eliminate that at the CSU level, they're going to ask us to follow suit. And so that means that all of our activity classes aren't tied to a transfer major, which means that that could hurt our enrollment. I mean, there's some cases where students can't even get financial aid to take a PE class. They have to pay for it all out of their own pocket. So if it's not part of their pathway, so we need to kind of be thinking in advance on how we're going to handle that if that happens, and how we can protect our classes and keep our enrollment up, because it could definitely hurt our entire discipline across the state.
So Tara, what kind of things can we be doing as a department? And then I have one other suggestion, but are there things we can be doing right now to help with that movement, or is it just kind of like we're waiting to hear?
Yeah, I think it's better to react now than like wait for it to be happening to us. And I think, and I could be wrong, but I'm just suggesting that tying any of our classes to a CTE program would be helpful to protect them. So, for example, a lot of the fitness based classes are in the fitness, nutrition, health certificate. So, students have to take those activity based classes to get that certificate. It's a career education certificate. So, those are protected. Whether or not it could hurt enrollment for general students taking it, we still get high school students that need to take it, things like that, but we're limited on that. The yoga program possibly, that could work. So maybe a coaching certificate where you could put sports types classes in there, where they have to take some sports classes and link them up with the coaching piece. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here of how we can kind of.
That was my one suggestion, was maybe creating a coaching certificate, but I know that one of the criteria with certificates is it's got to give them some type of, something at the end of it other than just a piece of paper that says you completed this certificate, like, lead to a job or an internship or something like that. And I don't know, um, man, that's a bigger, that's a 10,000-foot view rather than just us having a certificate. You know what I mean? That's something where you'd have the high schools or some other entities, youth sports programs or something that would say, yeah, we'll accept that.
Yeah.
So that might be a bigger process than it.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to kind of go. I mean, at the highest level, you could create the coaching certificate and bring it to the majors review committee with the data that you do have about the job market for coaches and what opportunities are available. and talk to people out in the community and ask them, the youth leagues, if they would accept that certificate, or, and if you have that backing, then they could approve it and you could move forward. And if not, then I don't know what else to do. But or we could see other community colleges. I feel like maybe some do have a coaching certificate. Maybe
Yeah, I'll have to look at that, because I know that most youth sports programs and even high schools, they have certifications for coaches that already exist, that are mandatory for them. And so I don't know if we would be double. It's kind of like how there's different yoga training. Like it took a while to break into that, where they would accept ours as equal to that, the other ones.
No, it wasn't actually, because we use the national guidelines to build ours when we are approved schools. So if you could potentially maybe partner with those national programs to create that program here at SRJC. So it's a possibility.
All right. Well, okay. Thank you for that information. I'm going to look more into that, and maybe that's an option for us. Any other announcements or information people would like to add right now before we get rolling? Okay. Well, Dean Markovich, you are first up on the batting order. So go ahead and take it away.
Morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. I just have a couple of announcements, and then if you guys have any questions, I'll do the best I can to answer them. But good to see everybody. Couple things on the bond. As you can tell, the baseball and softball field are getting to the final stages. We've got a few things to put together there, but they're open and being used by the teams right now, as we had launched off softball last week, and I think baseball about a week and a half ago. We're happy, but we started putting up some of the windscreens on softball yesterday. I think baseball and soccer's windscreens are coming next week. So we'll start doing some of that, but we have a punch list on baseball and softball on Monday that we're going to be walking. So if the coaches have anything, please send me any questions. Soccer is kind of in a little bit of battle with the construction people over the grass. We're not real happy with the grass, having so many weeds and some of the rye seed in there. So we're working that. So that's going to be held off. Probably to access that is going to be looking more like May or so, till we actually take that over. We're not going to take the field over until it's we feel like it's ready to go. So we're just not going to take responsibility for that until we sign off on it. So that's coming. The Bailey building is making its way. I actually walked it yesterday, and they had all the sheetrock up, and the offices are being formed, and they're picking the floor for the deck and everything, and it's looking really good. That's looking at end of April. The swimming pool is about a month behind. That's looking at end of April as well to be finished. They were supposed to be done early April, but it's probably going to be end of April. So my guess is probably don't plan on getting into those till sometime in May. If they're saying end of April now. We're almost at the final stages of the Towser project, getting sent to DSA. So they're doing the final touches there. So all the changes are being made and decisions are being made, and it'll go to DSA for about a 6-month period. So DSA can sign off on it. We're still planning on moving Towser at the end of fall 22. So during the summer and fall, you'll be given boxes to start boxing your stuff up, and then they'll move everybody down to Anley Village at the end of fall, next fall. Those are getting construction will start on those in the summer on Anley Village, getting those ready for us. Yeah, Lenny.
Just a question before you get off of the facilities.
Yeah.
Is there any updates on the bidding for the scoreboard?
Yeah, so the bid opened, closes March 2nd. It closed March 2nd, and we just got to wait to make sure. So the problem with the scoreboard bid is that we have a limited amount of money. So we're hoping that the company that actually gave us the quote we want and the scoreboard that we want to use, we actually hope they come in with a bid. But as of right now, they haven't come in with a bid yet. So I need to talk to Chris about what the holdup is. He has till March 2nd, so maybe he plans on doing it, but we won't know it till it closes on March 2nd for sure.
Okay,
But,
thank you. And did you hear anything back from the windscreen company about the photos for adding the photos onto the track and field football windscreen?
Not yet. We sent them that we wanted to add more photos and lengthen that out a little bit. The biggest issue is going to be to get better photos. I'm trying to figure out what resolution they need to make it look good.
Okay.
'Cause I don't want to pay for something that's blurry.
Yep.
So like I was saying, the Towser project is coming along. I think everything's pretty good. It's going to come down to getting through DSA and see where we land after all that. So, what else? As far as that, I don't know if there's any questions about the bond. The PRPP is starting up again. And this last year, we had a really good year with our instructional equipment money. The governor gave a lot of money, so we ended up as a cluster got close to $200,000 of things. So we're buying some needed things. For instance, a new cart for the training room. We're buying new basketball scoreboards in the gym. We got money for that. So basically a lot of the stuff that we had in our PRPP for way before I was here has been being purchased. So the PRPP is going to be blank. So if you have some bigger ticket items that you need, whether it be in Petaluma or dance or APE, or, I was thinking about throwing in some scoreboards for baseball and soccer and stuff in there. But if you have some bigger ticket items, start thinking about those and getting us some links of stuff that you like. The weight room stuff, we plan on getting brand new weight room equipment. So all the stuff that's in the weight room will be gone. So we'll plan on doing that with the new stuff. So none of that stuff you need to worry about putting in the PRPP. Okay. BCAT is kind of on hold right now, on hiatus right now with COVID. We're not having any meetings in person. We can't have the Plenta feed on campus, so we're not going to have it this year. Brian Marvin is moving. He's moving to Florida in April. So the chairman position will be open. So if you have any ideas about what's the right way to say this, about a good way to revamp BCAT into a better situation for us, please send your ideas to me. Or if you have someone that might want to be the chairman, please send your ideas to me. Scheduling is, from what I know, and maybe it's changed. I missed the last academic deans meeting, but from what I know, come summer, we're supposed to be back to on campus, and our DE stuff, emergency agenda is going away, and which means that we're going to probably not be able to have as many low enrolled classes as we have right now. So it's really important that the schedule that we're putting together for summer and fall is intact, and we put a lot of time into it to make sure that they're going to fill. But we're hopefully come summer going to be back to normal, and the emergency stuff will be lifted for the campus. So that's the latest I know. I might have missed something. Like I said, it wasn't there the last meeting. SLOs accreditation obviously is coming this semester, so please keep pushing on the SLOs. I'm not sure exactly where we are. Maybe Dante can shoot out an email, let us know where we're at. But if we could keep creeping along at that for the SLO stuff, we want to make sure that CAD is at top of the line when it comes to the progress we've made, as you guys always do. Fall sports are coming back in March. So what that entails is you need to make sure that you're hooking up with Josh. So the fall sport that are plan on starting practice in March, we got to get cleared by the training room. So make sure that, that Josh knows what's going on, what's going on, because we got to do a test a week before you actually start practice. Okay. So make sure that we are hooking up with Josh, and we're get off on the right foot for the fall sports. Okay. Connor has resigned. I don't know if you guys know, Connor resigned on December 28th. So we had to, we tried to get a new tennis coach in, and we did actually. It took a little bit longer to do an emergency hire. So we actually had to put the tennis programs on hiatus this semester. So we do have a new tennis coach as kind of an emergency hire, but he's just going to be running practices a couple days a week and trying to build for next fall. But it was an unfortunate situation. I see Jake on here. Jake has resigned as the head coach. He's not leaving us, thank God. But
retired.
retired. I'm sorry, not resigned, retired. Thank you. Did I say resigned? Jake has retired from his position. So congratulations to Jake, but he's still not leaving us. He's still going to help coach. So Jake, thanks for your 37 years. Pretty amazing. Let's see. Volleyball full-time generalist position is in swing. We had our first meeting yesterday with the committee, so we'll get that going. Hopefully we'll have a new full-time KAD faculty member come, I think in April or something, early May. And then we are also going to be doing some part-time hiring. I know Cassandra and I are going to do part-time hiring for dance. So if there's anybody else that needs part-time positions in your areas, let us know. We can increase that pool a little bit, open it up some coaching pools. That's kind of all I have for now. If you guys have any questions, I'm here. Yeah.
Two things really. Dante, do you think it's possible to contact whoever it was you were working with the SLO assessments before, where we got that really cool report that, you know, gave us all the bar graphs and all that kind of stuff for like where we are right now? Because it'd be interesting to see how much progress we made from the last time we did it.
Yeah, no, I'll take care of that. You know,
That'd be cool.
I'm not sure where Karen got her last info, but that was just data. It wasn't graphed out and all that. I'll talk to IT is probably where that would be most effective to talk to.
Yeah, we can do another one of those workshops. My other question, Matt, was, and I know you told me this, but I can't remember, but what is the status of, is the Hall of Fame on hiatus this year too?
Yeah, the Hall of Fame, it's a challenge. Yes, it's on hiatus this year. I'm not going to bring the Hall of Fame back. I'm not going to let it die, but I don't want to bring it back until we could actually have a committee together and we can meet on campus. It's a big production, that Hall of Fame thing, and it takes a lot of time. So it's going to be, if the emergency situation lifts in May, then we'll start the Hall of Fame up in the summer and hopefully shoot for a big event next spring.
And were there candidates already picked for the one that, because didn't one of the events get canceled? Yeah,
we actually did everything. We even sent out the invitations before COVID hit, 2 years ago now. So yeah, there's a group of 5, I believe, that is gonna get in. Unfortunately, one of the Hall of Famers died over the last year and a half. So Benji, the tennis player. So it's kind of a rough, but we've briefly talked about trying to do a really big one in Hale, to where we can not only have the group that we already voted in, but then also have another class. We've also talked about doing some special type things where we just maybe have a baseball Hall of Fame in October or November, because we have some big leaguers that should be in our Hall of Fame that aren't. And then we've also talked with, like Lenny and I have talked about doing a football one, to where it's just football people and we get a group of football guys. So anyways, there's a lot of good things going on with all of that, but with Brian leaving as the chairman of BCAT, it's time to really look at what BCAT is and what it does for us and see if we can revamp it.
Well, thanks, Matt. Anybody have any questions for Matt before we go into the chair's report?
I do. Sorry, I have my hand up, but I don't know if you can
I'm
see
sorry.
my background there. We received an email from Chaz about the PSLOs and the program mapping. And since there's so many programs that are involved in that, I'm wondering if maybe we could spend our next KAD meeting with those faculty members who need to update their actual certificates and degrees for the PSLOs. I'm a little unclear on how to go about that, and I'm pretty savvy in this kind of stuff. So I thought maybe as a group it would be beneficial if we could work on, a certificate or something together. I know that there's fitness, nutrition, health, all 3 of the dance things: kinesiology, sports medicine, fitness and nutrition, yoga. So
yeah, I'd be open to working together on that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. The one thing, just to relieve any kind of anxiety that anybody is having over that is like one of the easiest things to do in curriculum. It's literally, we just have to put X's in those boxes and then send it back to Chaz, I believe. So it might be something that takes 5 minutes. It's not as,
Okay.
when I first saw it a couple of years ago and I had to do it, I thought it was something major too. And so even in that email, I think he just says, hey, just check the boxes, you know, and so you could look and I don't think that it's like, where's your evidence? I don't think it's gonna, you know, I think it's up to us to determine where we think those certificates address those program outcomes. So
Okay.
I'd be happy to work with a group, and anybody that wants to do that, we can do that. But I don't think it'll be a long meeting.
So can I, while we're here, can I just share my screen and because I have
Yeah.
one pulled up so
Yeah.
that we're all on the same page.
Just made you a host.
Okay. Oops. Okay, so here's what these look like. So you're saying I would just like go like this? Like,
Yeah.
And okay. That's, well, then maybe no need to do it together then, but
But some
I-
classes, you know, not every class may address all three outcomes. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So it's just,
Okay.
it's up to us to say, okay, this one addresses 1 and 3, this one addresses 2, this one addresses all of them.
Oh, and then date of course assessment completion, that's the day that I'm filling this out, or is it the date that that it was recently went through CRC?
I would say it would be, I think, the date of the, I believe that they're looking at the student learning outcome assessment completion.
Oh, okay. I have to make a date up. I'm sure it doesn't matter if you make a date up, right?
No, I don't think, you know what, I would just put the date in that you do it, because I'm not sure on that. Maybe I'll have to ask Chaz and get some clarification on that.
All right, that's easy. I can handle that. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Any other questions for Matt? All right, so chair's report, starting off with kind of, I'll go in kind of chronological order the way it was sent out, but summer schedule and targets. The summer schedule, we turned in proof 2. We've been making adjustments to that. We have certain targets that we have to meet, and we have like this block of FTEF that includes fall and summer. And so, you know, we have a new full-time faculty member coming on, and we have classes in person coming back. So a lot of people that have been choosing to stay off campus and not teach. Anyway, long story short, we're going to need the extra FTEF. So we have to be really careful about adding things right now to just be aware of that target, because we're not allowed to go over that. So Matt and I have been working on that. Make sure you guys, you know, one of the things that has changed over with our summer schedule is all the modalities that we taught our classes, or the ways that we taught our classes are kind of, there's been a lot of changes, right? We went from COVID being all online and away from school, and now all of a sudden when those classes, now that we're doing stuff back in person, all those classes, all the comments on those classes change now, going from online to days of the week and times and facilities. There's a lot that gets changed, believe it or not, from last summer to this summer. So when you have the opportunity, please double check that stuff and dates. You know, the dates change every summer. We have some classes that teachers prefer to teach in 8 weeks. Some prefer to teach it in 6 weeks. So all that type of stuff is where we got to fine tune that schedule as soon as we get a chance to all look at it. On that note, the official ask went out for the fall schedule, and hopefully you guys all saw that, and I've received a lot of replies already. So thank you to those of you that replied. I'll do my best to accommodate everybody.
Lenny, quick question.
Yeah.
It was suggested in our cabinet meeting this week that the chairs of all of the DCs request the proofs from 2019, from fall of 2019. That way we're working with the classrooms that we were in prior to COVID. I don't know if that's something that you're already working on, or if Sherry, if that's been even discussed with Sherry and Jane about working from the proof from 2019. So we have our correct rooms and things like that. What are your thoughts on that?
That's pretty typical that we'll do that. I know Matt and I have looked at past schedules before, like with summer and coming back on in person. But Matt, do you know if they've made an official decision? I mean, that's something we can easily request and we could go off of, but I don't know if an official decision has been made to make that the proof.
Hasn't the proof been put out?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know. We could find out easily if that was, I assume I'm assuming it's 19 because they did the same thing with summer. They gave us 19 in summer, so, but I don't know for sure. We can double check.
yeah, I've been working with the summer schedule and have not even looked at the fall proof yet, so I couldn't tell you if they did that officially. Okay, any other questions about summer or fall? All right, so we have some faculty evaluations this spring for a few of our faculty members. You guys should have been contacted by the evaluations office to let you know that you're being evaluated. Very soon, I'll be assigning full-time faculty members to complete those evaluations. So you'll be hearing something from me really soon on that. If you're one of the people being evaluated, and full-timers, be ready. There's only a few. We got a lot of them done last semester. And so I think it'll be fairly easy, and so be on the lookout for that. Distance ed proposals, or is there any questions on that? Distance ed proposals, we got a lot of them done at the, throughout that little workshop we had, and thank you to everybody that participated in that. We're gonna have to do it again. I mean, we don't have to do it again, but if there are any classes that we did not get to this fall, or that are classes that are, because we focused on the classes that are going to be offered this fall when we did the distance ed proposals. And there's another deadline for the classes that we typically offer in the spring. So take a look at your spring schedules, and if there are classes that you are still wishing to teach online next spring, and if you're unsure, ask me, but we'll find out if those distance ed proposals are in there, because all of our classes have been operating on that emergency distance ed deal where all of our classes were just automatically allowed to be taught online. That ends, as Matt said, at the end of this semester. And so everything's either in person or it's been approved for online through distance ed. So we'll have another workshop on that for spring classes, but if you're unsure on your classes and you're someone who really likes teaching online, double check and make sure, because after this semester that proposal's got to be in. Okay, any questions on that, you guys?
Hey, Lenny,
Yeah.
just speaking for what Cassandra said, I just went and looked, and the proof that they did send was fall 21. So it would be a good idea to get that 19 or request the 19, because I'm looking at the fall proof 21 now and everything's online. So
Well,
you're gonna have to do a ton of work to do that.
Can you, I mean, I would have no problem doing that, but I think that's kind of a bigger question than a chair, because you're talking FTEF now when you go from that fall 19
Yeah.
proof,
Yeah.
and that's so I don't know if you could maybe get some clarification on that.
Yeah, I will.
Sherry would do it, but if all of a sudden we're gonna have to go into that schedule, then cancel everything that wasn't in, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's a bigger picture item.
Yeah, I'll talk to Josh and see what he thinks, and then see if we can get 19. I mean, I think we have our target right now for
Yep.
fall, which is, so everybody knows, it's right around 21 FTF that we're going to be working off of. So yeah, I'll talk to Josh and see what he thinks.
Yeah, and then see, maybe, maybe it's as simple as our FTEF is right around that number that we're already targeted at, and we could use that. That would be really helpful.
Agreed.
Cool. Thanks, Matt. We do have some courses up for review this year for curriculum, like we always do. So I'll be sending a list out of that as well. So we just keep on doing that every semester. We've got them. And that is all I have for department chairs report, unless anybody has any questions or anything they'd like me to talk about that pertains to the department chair. Just reminders, you guys, the department chair election is happening right now, so please get your votes in. Matt sent that information out. And then if there are no questions for me, we can go into our committee reports. And going alphabetical here, we'll go Academic Senate first, and then AFA. So do we have anything to report Academic Senate wise?
I think we do a pretty good job of sending you the notes, but we have a retreat today from 10 to 2. We are talking about giving input for the new faculty learning program, discussing online teaching with the district online committee. And during the meetings, they've been heavily focused on the hiring policy and procedures, and focusing on student involvement. We're getting a lot of open forum comments from the student union and the Black Student Union about having students involved. And so just the most recent vote was just to have student involvement in the hiring process. And the next few meetings will be about how exactly, if there's like a menu of options that we can choose from, teaching demos, having them on the committee, things like that. So we're just kind of slowly making our way through that. And that's sort of the big things that we're discussing at this point.
Tara, I have a question for you.
Sure.
We've talked in our department many times about having a unit added to the graduation requirements for the JC. Is that something that's even possible? I mean, I know it would start with Academic Senate, or at least I think it would.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it would start with Academic Senate, but we could definitely pursue that. I know that at the state level, what's occurring is that the opposite is occurring, that across the state, PE programs are saying that they're fighting their college because they're getting rid of it if they haven't already. So we would be trying to reverse something that's like going the other direction, but we can definitely try.
I mean, it's like LIR 10.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean, that's a Santa Rosa
Right.
JC deal. And I don't know. I'm just looking at ways to protect us. And I know that we
Yeah.
once had it. And I think,
Yeah. Yeah, we could definitely bring it forward, especially if we know that we're going to get hit from the other direction, that we could make it more of a local requirement.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe we can get a sort of a task force of CAD faculty that want to champion that.
Yeah, I think it's just the kind of a lot of the same work we did before when we did the CAD campaign, just making a case that all these students that, I mean, Dante did this in part of his, one of his presentations that I listened to about, we're a Hispanic HLI, Hispanic Learning Institution, fitness levels, diabetes rates, all these things, every group on campus that we, say as a cohort or that we support are groups that are suffering from health issues because of lack of fitness, and so I think there's a good case for it. I don't know if they would listen, but I would like to think they would. That would.
Yeah. Another thing to think about too is like, how can we really get students and faculty and staff on board? And I know just access to our facilities is a big one. And, I know I've talked about this before. We were going to do it in Petaluma, but just like setting up the weight room kind of more like a fitness center where you have to enroll in a unit, but you have some flexibility on when you go in to do your participation hours. So that, because what I'm finding, because I'm teaching on in person, but they also can do like videos and Zoom, is that students sometimes they can come on Monday, but they can't come on Wednesday because they have like a science lab or something like that interferes with their ability to take a PE class. And then they just go, okay, you can't take it. It's not that big of a deal. So if we offered some kind of flexibility in when they participate so they can work it around their class schedule, that could be potential for, higher enrollment. And there's other colleges that have done that way. It's still a unit, we still have teachers, kind of scheduled in that area. So just throwing that out there again as a potential to get more people to kind of come to us for our classes.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I think that's what we're working towards, but with the facilities in flux,
Yeah,
on the
it's
Santa
tough.
Rosa campus, that's going to be a challenge until we get all
But we
that
could work
dialed
on
in.
it while the facilities are in flux and then launch it and kind of hype it up. Like, here's what's coming down the pike. You enroll and we already have the classes. Actually, we built 4 classes out that have that, and it's flexible unit, variable unit. So you can take 0.5 or 1.5. And that 0.5 to 1.5 is how many hours of participation you need for the entire semester. And then all the content that they're learning would be online on campus.
What course number did you guys assign to that?
I think it's 61, 62, 63, 64 KFIT.
Cool.
It's like personal fitness training. And then I think one is like a focus on, gosh, I'm trying to remember. It's like two years ago. I can't remember all the different names, but each class, it was like built on each other, had like a different focus. Like this one's focused on proper form and mechanics, and this one's focused on health and wellness, and this one's focused on basics of fitness training. So it definitely had some core curriculum that was building on the next class if they would take it 4 times.
And one last question for you about that. The fact that you said it's variable units made me think of summer school.
Oh yeah, you could put that up.
Could
in the
those
summer.
be offered as independent, just
Mhm.
sections? Because I think the 1.5 units of weight training or yoga or anything
Yeah,
in
it's too much.
summer is kind of crazy, all those hours. And maybe some half unit PE classes that are 2 days a week in the summer.
Yeah, they're approved and you can use them right now.
Interesting. Okay, thank you, Tara. Okay, AFA, do we have any updates?
Just a couple. There is on Tuesday, the 15th, there is a listening session from 2 to 3 p.m. For all those who have questions about the return to campus, how that's going to work. And the side letter expires at the end of this semester, and they are not negotiating a new side letter for use of sick leave or the right to choose your modality to teach in. It was agreed that the scheduling needs to go back into the department's hands and back into the chair's hands about how things are taught in which modalities. And so that I think we're going to see a lot of angry faculty that would prefer to stay online and keep living in Hawaii, or prefer to continue using their sick leave. I know it's terrible that I said that, but it's true. It's really happening. But that side letter is going away, and there's no longer an option to use sick leave to get paid for your classes. So, and then that listening session I just put in the chat, and it was also sent out by email. I will be in that listening session, as well as Sean and KFT, to answer questions about scheduling. And then I just wanted to also open up to anybody in the room here. If anybody has any questions for AFA, I'm happy to answer those today, and let me know. Things are going to transition quickly and not so efficiently because it's the district. So I wish it was more efficient, but we do what we can. So if anybody has any questions, let me know.
Thanks, Cassandra. Okay, no questions, so we're moving along. Our next report is our staffing committee. And this is the time of year when we start thinking about what our next full-time faculty position request is going to be. And just to kind of review the process, we have a number of positions that have been put into the hopper, so to speak, and that list remains. So the positions that are currently already in there for our next full-time requests in alphabetical order: APE, athletic trainer, head of athletic performance and student success, softball, strength coach, tennis, wrestling. And I will send that list out to you guys along with the form that you fill out if you'd like to add a position to that list. And then remember what happens is we then, once we have a formalized list that represents everybody's requests, then we send that out and everybody gets to vote on that. And those votes go to Matt, and basically it's a recommendation. So adjunct faculty, your votes will come in as this is the adjunct votes. These are the full-time votes, and both of those are just recommendations for Matt to make his recommendation to the staffing committee, which then makes a recommendation to the vice president and then on up. But they're all recommendations. And so even though sometimes we pick a position and we go hard for that position, we don't always get them. There's no guarantee. Matt, goes to the next level. And again, that's a recommendation. So anyways, I'll send that information out along with the meeting notes and the recording link. But be thinking about, our facilities and how they're changing and how maybe our needs are changing. There's some real needs in our department. And I know, poor Matt doesn't have the same type of process for requesting assistant athletic directors. I wish it was the same process, because he needs some help in there. So anyway, if there are positions that come up that fall into the faculty realm that are not listed in the ones that I send out, please fill the form out. We encourage you to do that. It's really quick, and then it's really on the staffing committee's job to do a little research and do a write-up to make the positions, to give some information when we send those out. So that is all I have to report on for the staffing committee right now. Does anybody have any questions about that or any comments? Okay. The last committee that, and I hope I didn't miss any, but EDI, Tara, do we have anything going on to report right now?
No, we haven't met yet this semester, but my next task is to get us all together and see what we want to plan for the semester. So I'll report back next time.
Cool, thank you. And since we're on that topic, there are lots of events happening on campus right now in terms of lectures and for Black History Month. And I encourage you guys to, if you're on campus and you're able to attend those or through Zoom, the ones that I've had a chance to be a part of have been great. So that gets us through all the scheduled items on our agenda. Is there anything that anybody has to add because we do have time? Yes, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Lane. I forgot to add in, she's still there. Lacey, so I checked into that mandate order and it expired last night at midnight. So we are going to open up for spectators tonight in the gym, more than 50. So we don't need a guest list. So if you can put something on the website saying that we're open, or take those no spectators off the indoor sports stuff, we're going to open that up. We are going to enforce the mask mandate, like walking around the gym, unfortunately, and making sure people have masks on. So put something on the website for that too. And then obviously for baseball and softball, we're going to lift the limitations on number of people that get into outdoor events. But for Madison and Damon, we are still fully vaccinated to get in. So you can tell they have to be fully vaccinated to even get into outdoor events. So, but that expired last night. Okay. If you could let Craig know, that would help me out.
Cool. Thanks, Matt. Anything else? Anybody?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
should have said this right at the beginning of the meeting, but I just wanted to let everybody know, just an update on the dance program. We survived, barely survived COVID. In March, over spring break, actually, it kind of works out pretty well scheduling wise. I'll be taking 12 students to the University of Oregon for the American College Dance Festival. We'll be sending a piece choreographed by Tanya Tomasoff to be adjudicated. And then we also have 4 new classes: tap, improvisation, somatic practices, and our African diaspora classes going on the schedule in the fall. So that's exciting news. And then we are in the theater live performing in May. So we're really excited to be back. We've never performed in the new theater. We've never used the new theater. We're really excited to use that. So just a little dance program update for everybody. There you go.
Thanks, Cassandra. And I do have one more thing, actually. Matt, with the delay on the soccer fields, do we need to start, do we need to get together with everybody to work out practice times and stuff like that for spring workouts?
Yeah, we should do that. I know, I think I have it somewhere in my email, but I know Crystal and Marty are on here. And I don't think David's here, but yeah, we definitely need to figure out what we're going to do spring practice wise, for sure.
Yeah,
So
we may
I'll
have,
send an email out to you and Crystal and Marty and David and try and get some times together. But
it could also affect Athletico, Marty and Matt, just because if you get, and now we have to squeeze 2 more in, it could potentially affect that. So I just wanted to get that on everybody's radar so that we're dialed.
yeah, gotcha. Cool. Thanks for the reminder. I'll send an
Yeah.
email out today.
And then one other thing, we have PDA coming up in a 3-day weekend or 5-day weekend. Where 5-day weekend. Sports that are going to be on campus practicing or working out. If you guys could let me know, I'll kind of keep track so that there's no conflicts. So you don't show up to the weight room or something like that, with your team or the pool or something like that. I don't know. Just a heads up so we know what's going on. I know we're not allowed to do a lot, but people that are in season, I know like you're still doing stuff. Earmuffs.
Hey,
Matt.
Lenny and Matt, do we know how long these rolling power outages are going to keep happening? Because we practice on Sundays and we keep having power outages in the middle of our practice, which is fun and exciting when you're playing basketball in a dark gym. But it's happened almost every Sunday we've practiced so far. So I was just wondering.
Well, I think it sounds like they're doing them on Sundays. No, they don't give me warnings. I guess I could ask Matt. That might be a Matt question.
Yeah, no, I mean, they honestly aren't supposed to be happening anymore. But they keep on scheduling and they give us like a 2-day email warning. And if you don't catch the email, you don't even get to forward it to anybody. So I'll reach out to what I need to do is give you David Liebman's phone number. And we can find out for sure, and he can text you if it's going to happen. Because yeah, they were trying to do them on Fridays and Saturdays, and I kept fighting it, and then they switched them to Sundays, and so. But I don't know how long it's going to happen. That is the worst run construction project I've ever seen in my life. So.
And also, there's been some accidental ones. They have not all been planned.
Yeah.
Some they haven't even figured out why they happened.
Right.
So we'll do the best we can on that. But that's
I'm gonna email David right now and CC you on it, and that way he can text you and get in touch with you about it. What time do you guys practice on Sundays? Because it could be that if you set a practice time on Sunday, he could do it around that.
Well, I reached out to him when that last email came out because I did get one yesterday, I think, about this Sunday. And he said he couldn't tell me when it would hit hail.
Awesome.
So it was between like 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So.
and
And they're supposed to just be 30 minutes, but they're not.
No, and then there's a problem with hail because when the power comes back on, the fire alarm goes off. It's a lot of fun. It's exciting. Keeps it entertaining. You don't have to email them.